can see by the excitement on my face how
And mine.
pumped we are to get into this. And it's with the greatest of pleasure that I welcome you to another episode of INGRAMS Skin Sessions, a thought-provoking campaign that encourages brave conversations which are more than just skin deep. Boy, don't we need it now more than ever. And today we are delving into the topic of representation of people living with disabilities. In the age of representation matters and the media supposedly mirroring our diverse and how inclusive, I said the I word, inclusive society, the representation of disabled people, it lags far behind any other group.
Yeah, no, totally. And beyond some of our Paralympians, when asked to think about well-known personalities who have disabilities, not many names quickly spring to mind. Why is that? It's something we need to be asking ourselves. Media plays an important role in educating the public and dispelling stigma. Joining us this morning to unpack this topic are Miss South Africa Top 30 finalist Zoe Siboe, as well as clinical psychologist and inspirational speaker Nikki Abdino. Ladies, good morning. It's good to have you here.
Hi, great to be here.
Now, we've just done it. We've just pigeonholed you as a top 30 finalist for Miss SA. Conversation over. That's who you are, right? But that's not who you are. And you've chosen to have a different place within media. So congratulations, first of all, on getting to that space. Because I'm sure it's a personal triumph already, which is wonderful. So we applaud you for that. But you obviously represent a community that are very underrepresented. Lamella-ichthyosis?
Lamella-ichthyosis.
Now, this is a skin condition that you have chosen to be an advocate for that community, to represent that. How challenging is it to operate within your space?
Yeah, it has been a very different journey for me, but one thing for sure is my family support has built this courage and confident person that I am today. And, you know, as rare as the condition is, you can imagine how people would perceive it. And for me, it's been a tough journey, but I'm still learning to accept who I am and what it means to me.
Nikki, your story is just as inspirational. I mean, without representation in mass media, where did you find the courage, the bravery, the platforms to be able to show up in the way that you have?
Well, I think I can resonate a lot with what Zoe had to say, is that I always say that there are three things that I feel are absolutely crucial to where I am today. And that is family. And I think having a family that embraced my disability, they never asked, can Nikki do this? They asked, how can Nikki do this? So that was definitely pivotal in my being where I am today on this couch. And the second thing, I think, was my early childhood development. As a psychologist, those are the most crucial years. And even though when I was born, giving away my age, I wasn't in the era of inclusive education, but I was given the opportunity to attend mainstream schooling, and I think that made a massive impact on where I am. And lastly, my own personality. I always...
Ain't nobody gonna hold you back, yeah.
I saw an article that was written about me when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it said, "No nonsense Nikki." And that is who I am. And no nonsense Nikki was going to take over the world.
I get where you're coming from, but it's allowing people to have that access point to the mainstream, and the schooling is a massive, massive thing. But now we've come to an age where digital provides that access to everybody. You can speak to the world. To someone who is in the same position you were even last week, a few weeks ago, a few months ago, a few years ago, that is grappling with this, what do you have to say to them?
We may be different, but they shouldn't bury us with that, because we have more to contribute to society. And what I would tell somebody who's looking up to me, or somebody who wants to make a change as well, in life, you know, if you're different, people perceive you different. And the biases that society perpetuates towards you, that is like big. They have not decided to disable themselves, but society has decided to give them that name. And, you know, learn to value what makes you unique, and make sure that that is your currency for society to navigate your way in it.
And Nikki, for you, I imagine, you know, just in addition to what Zoe's saying now, you probably have faced so many discrimination moments and points in your life on an everyday basis. What are some of those standout stigmas and discriminations that
What's the worst thing for you? What is that thing that you're like, oh, God?
Disabled parking.
Do you like it or do you not like it?
I love disabled parking, and in fact, it's a perk of having a disability. But the problem is that people abuse it. Yeah. And when people don't have a personal story of disability, whether it's themselves, a friend, someone in the media, or a family member, they take advantage. They don't understand the importance that it's our environment that disables us. It's not our disability. And by somebody using a disabled parking or using a disabled toilet in a shopping centre, they are denying a person with a disability from being part of society.
And it's often those supposedly small things in perception that you take for granted. I can imagine how challenging it is internally to overcome that narrative, that internal conversation. Now, you go and put yourself out there on one of the biggest platforms. Your vulnerability is there for the whole of South Africa to see, the world to see now. Why did you enter Miss SA, and what has that been like? What is your kind of the response from that culture, that little ecosystem been like? Never mind how the world and South Africa perceives you, but what has this been like for you?
It's been a difficult one, but a very interesting of getting to know myself. You know, Miss South Africa is a platform that makes people take note of you, makes people want to get to know you and want to see who's this person. It makes people listen to the women who put themselves there. So I've decided to use that platform to bring awareness about my skin condition. And like, people have to know that there are people who exist like me, and even in their existence, they have something to contribute. And I was there to just be a model, because I have never seen somebody like me in the industry, never. So that is like, for me, for my 7-year-old Zoe, like, oh, wow, somebody to look up to.
Yeah.
Representation.
And here's the thing, is that some people are able to go after a dream that's not even based on something they've seen represented in the media, while others need to have seen it in order to believe that it's possible. And I think it's absolutely incredible that you are putting yourself in that space to be either for somebody else who is watching our thing.
And there needs to be a fair representation of everything. And we have diversity in South Africa and in society, but there's not enough inclusion.
Being diverse is one thing, but being included.
Yeah.
So in that kind of vein, what do we need to do? What does South African society need to do to be more welcoming and supportive and empowering of people that are differently abled?
Well, I think it's just to recognise that the disabled population is an incredible source of talent, and anybody that has had an experience of employing a person with a disability, they think differently about it. So I know when I lectured psychology many years ago, the head coordinator came to me years later and said that, you know, it was a huge risk for her to take on a disabled lecturer, and she'd never had such great feedback. So she would jump at the opportunity of employing another lecturer with a disability. So it starts with one person. And we've got to think about giving people with disabilities the opportunity. I can guarantee you we are harder working. We are more absolutely committed, because we know how important these opportunities are to prove ourselves to the world.
And I love what Graham mentioned, to say that inclusivity is one thing and representation is another, but to be able to empower people, I think, is such an important one to note. Well, Nikki, Zoe, you are on the world stage and doing such fantastic work out there, and I hope that your stories are able to touch and reach so many people out there who are just looking for that representation that says to them, we are valid, we matter, and the world is our oyster. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you
very much.
Oh, we love you for contributing this morning. Thank you so much. I'm loving this campaign. I'm loving the fact that we get to have these conversations. So please remember that you too can join the brave conversation yourself. And we've really hit on something so special this week. And added to that, we're just going to spice it up with R1,000 in cash to get that conversation going. If you want to win this prize this week, simply reply to the competition post on the Expresso Facebook, Twitter or Instagram page by telling us why representation matters, especially when it comes to disability. Don't forget to include hashtag Your Skin, You're Brave. This week's competition closes on Friday, the 5th of August at midday. But you can find all the terms and conditions on expressoshow.com.
Get entering.
No nonsense, Nick.
Do you own your skin? Do you wear it bravely, even when others try to dim its glow? Does it represent your strength, your heritage, or does it express your brave and unconditional love? New look Ingrams, your skin, your brave.